Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, November 21, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section, letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at what the United States Climate Prediction Center is showing on their 3-week outlook. We can see that for the time period from November 29 to December 5, we are seeing that majority of where Jamaica is located should be in the clear. What we see is to the south of us a lot of browns, and we know the browns on this map represent some below average rainfall. So that's for that time period across the Western Hemisphere. We start to see some slight shades of greens across the Gulf of Mexico as well as sections of Mexico. I know those greens represent some above normal rainfall. But what about the time period from December 6 to December 12? We're starting to incorporate some more of the Western Caribbean, Eastern Gulf of Mexico, Southwest Atlantic in some lighter shades of greens, even a portion of Jamaica getting in on some of that, as well as the Cayman Islands, Cuba. And we know the lighter shades of greens represent some slight above normal rainfall. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds, considering that December is the beginning of the dry season across Jamaica. So we'll see if it's actually the northwest of the island getting in on all of that rainfall activity. Alright, so let us take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can still see that they're still monitoring that area across the northern Atlantic, the northern sections of North Atlantic to the north of the mid-Devonshire region. That still has a medium chance of development. It now has a 60% chance actually within the next 7 days, a 20% chance within the next 2 days. We can also see that they have downgraded the chances of this thing across the Central Caribbean, the chances for it developing. It was 10%, now it's gone down to 0, and this is exactly why. When we take a look at the infrared or the rainbow satellite images, we can see that majority of the cloud cover that we saw building up last night has dwindled. We don't have much taking place right now, only some popcorn thunderstorms, some small blobs of showers and thunderstorms to the north of Colombia, to the south of Jamaica at this time, and majority of that is going to be dying out as the night progresses. So it's this kind of weather all along, where we have the thunderstorms firing up, then they die down, then they fire up, and then they die down. It's going to be something very similar. And if we take a look at the precipitation forecast by the Euro and the GFS, this is the Euro first going out to the next couple of days, and we see out of that green that represent the rainfall that's expected from that system south of us. Then we can see that by the end of the run it tries to make it into portions of Central America. On the GFS we see something similar. All of the greens that represent that rainfall associated with the system to be to the southwest of the island by about 18th on Thursday. When we calculate that, that's about 1 p.m. on Thursday, and then making it into portions of Central America. And who knows, maybe we might get in some amount of rainfall maybe sometime next week. That's far out in time, but we won't be going that far. We know these things can change. Either way, when looking at the next several days, this is valid for at least 12Z on Saturday. That's about 7 a.m. So by 7 a.m. on Saturday, we see that on both the Euro and the GFS, this is the amount of rainfall that has fallen to the south of Jamaica, heading into sections of Honduras, Nicaragua, and even Costa Rica. Definitely some blues and some slight purples that indicate maybe up to 2 inches of rainfall or more. We don't see much across Jamaica at all, but we do see that maybe some slight blues across especially eastern Jamaica. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have a cold front right there across portion of northeastern Caribbean that stretches all the way up into the northern sections of the North Atlantic. And we can see that that cold front has induced that trough attached to the low pressure area that we've been watching across the south central Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that cold front stretching all the way from northern sections of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of northeastern Caribbean. Then we have that trough, then we have that airflow pressure attached to it. So it all makes sense with what we're seeing on the surface map of the Atlantic. And if we actually take a look at the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, it was stated in yesterday's video that we would have received more of that rainfall across sections of some northeastern parishes, some northern parishes especially. So definitely a section of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. We know there are eastern parishes, we're talking about Portland in general. And what ended up happening? As early as 6:56 a.m. a post was made on our Twitter page. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok page. So if you have one of those platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make some mini posts that are not made here on our YouTube channel that you'll need to see. So we can definitely see those clouds associated with that flow from the northeast. Definitely some amount of isolated showers, overcast skies across sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland for this morning. And some of that even spilled into the afternoon hours. Look at this. This is valid for this afternoon before the sun went down. We still saw some of that cloud cover across sections of St. Mary, Portland especially. And some of that cloud cover even made its way into portions of St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. So we definitely had some amount of overcast skies and some isolated showers across those very areas before the sun went down. And even if we take a look at the infrared satellite images right now, we don't see any deep convection, no blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, or blacks, or purples. All we see are some grays that represent those low-level patches of clouds, and we could be receiving some more of that into tomorrow. Taking a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we can see that there's nothing happening right now across Jamaica, only a few stray showers coming into sections of northern Cuba. As relates to what took place across Jamaica for today, we can see that on See Jamaica's YouTube channel, looking over Kingston and St. Andrew, you can see that it was a mainly clear day, sunny for the most part, warm, definitely a warm day. And if you'd like to see some more live streams like this, feel free to visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have numerous live streams from Halfway Tree, Crossroad, Kingston Harbor, and this one overlooking the Kingston and the St. Andrew area. So you can go and do that. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about, let's say, 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning, we can see about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map is showing 18 on Wednesday. When we calculate that, that's about 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can see Jamaica embedded in some slight yellow colors, maybe meaning about 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of November are about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius for tomorrow's temperature. As relates to the dry air map, we can see that majority of the Greater Antilles, the Northern Caribbean, the Eastern Caribbean, lots of dry air has taken shape. You can see all of those yellows, oranges, reds across the basin, stretching from east to west. It's only the southern portion of the Caribbean that still has a lot of moist air, as indicated by those blues. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast, thankfully, majority of the Saharan dust is right there off the coast of Africa, as indicated by those darker shades of browns, and this is valid for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that majority of the north and eastern portion of the island are going to be receiving 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and we can see that by the key on the bottom right, while the southern and western portion of the island are going to be getting up to 0.5 of a meter wave height, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS models, and that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong at all. The winds are going to be strongest wherever we have the highest wave heights, so northern parishes, eastern parishes, where we have those brighter shades of greens, and we know the key at the bottom right represents anywhere from 15 to 20 knot winds, while the south coast, not so much, lots of blues that represent anywhere from 0 to 5 knots right there. As it relates to the rainfall that's forecasted, we can see that this is valid on the Euro and the GFS model for about 3 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see? Some blues across sections of some northern parishes, so definitely some more rainfall in store for sections of St. Mary, Portland, skipping ahead to about 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. What do we see on both maps? We see some blues that represent rainfall, maybe some rainfall, it could be some overcast skies, who knows. We see that across southern St. Mary, northeastern St. Catherine, northern Kingston and St. Andrew, northern St. Thomas, southern and western or central Portland right there. And we see something similar on the Euro model, sorry. But we see more of that across sections of Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Thomas. We also see that there's a bit of contrast, not much happening across Western Jamaica on the GFS for 3 p.m. on Wednesday, but some blues that represent something happening. It will be interesting to see what happens, to see if the Euro wins or the GFS wins. Who knows what will happen? Look at what happened today. We saw that we had somewhat of isolated showers across sections of some southwestern parishes. Some clouds bringing some rainfall to sections of St. Elizabeth in the late evening hours or late afternoon hours before the sun went down. And that was not predicted. It was more predicted across St. Mary and Portland. But we can't rule out some daytime heating bringing some rainfall to sections of the southwest, and that was indeed what happened. So we shall see if the Euro wins for tomorrow as opposed to what the GFS is showing. And we can see that as relates to the accumulated precipitation forecast, the Euro is making sense with what we just saw on the 1 hour totals, northeast and maybe spilling into sections of some central or western parishes. GFS, more in the way of some northeastern parishes, only up to 0.13 of an inch on GFS, up to 0.12 of an inch of rainfall on the Euro. Either way, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into the drier period from December to April. We're in the month of December, we're in the final month of our rainy season here in Jamaica. So yes, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into the drier months, where we have the fire trucks running up and down, trying to, calm down these bushfires or whatever the case may be. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us take a look at what's happening across the rest of the basin. So you can see that there's definitely a lot of activities taking place across sections of the eastern US and the southern US. Some activity as well as usual taking place across sections of Costa Rica, Panama, sections of southern Colombia. Look at all of that thunderstorm activity. Even sections of southern Venezuela getting in on some of that, eastern Venezuela as well. As relates to the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we didn't see that we have much taking place at all. Maybe some stray isolated shores across sections of eastern Puerto Rico, northern Puerto Rico as well. Not much happening across the Leeward Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, definitely in the clear. Right now, however, we can see that all of the rainfall is to the south of Barbados. Not much happening across Barbados right now, but definitely we can see clear weather across Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent. It's actually the Grenadine Islands, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago that are getting in on some amount of rainfall, as you can see indicated by those blues, greens, yellows, and even some reds in there that represent some heavy rainfall. And we could see some more of that spill into tomorrow's weather. As relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that there's not much happening across majority of the basin where we have some Doppler radars installed. Only some stray showers across sections of southwestern Belize, northeastern Guatemala, some rainfall to the north of the ABC Islands right there. As related to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that for the most part majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on some average, if not some slightly above normal temperatures. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, while it's the main development region, especially the part closest to Africa, that has the most in the way of Saharan dust. As well as the wave forecast, we can see that majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on those lighter shades of blues, going up to maybe even some purple shades that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter to at least 2 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all, averaging anywhere from let's say 5 to at least 20 knot winds, especially to the south of Hispaniola, where we see those yellow shades coming in from the east across majority of the Caribbean. And as relates to the rainfall forecast, we can see that we don't have much in the way of rainfall forecasted for sections of Florida or the Bahamas, but maybe some isolated showers for sections of Cuba that they're already getting based on what we just saw in the Doppler radar images. Some more isolated showers for sections of northern Haiti and the Dominican Republic, as well as sections of eastern Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. Not much rainfall for Antigua and Barbuda southward. Guadeloupe should be in the clear. Dominica, Martinique, St. Vincent, sections of the Grenadine Islands, Barbados. It's when we get closer to Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, northeastern Venezuela, northern Guyana, northern Suriname, that we're going to be getting on that rainfall. Even section of the ABC Islands still to get in on some amount of rainfall. And we can also see some rainfall across sections of northwestern Venezuela, Colombia, sections of Panama, Costa Rica, section of Nicaragua. Not so much rainfall for sections of Honduras, but definitely some rainfall for sections of southern Belize, northeastern Guatemala as well. And we can also see some isolated showers in store for maybe section of the Cayman Islands, who knows. Alright, we know that when both maps are showing something similar like this, by the way, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.